So here's the thing. Raids 2, it ain't easy. It's definitely not easy. I think that there is some BS stuff to it, but overall, I'm not a PVMer, so I'm not really going to say anything. But I will say I finally learned how to do it. I'd like to do it for a decent amount of time since the new weapons, they're pretty expensive. They're like, I think the rapier is 4 bill at the moment, so everything is just going to be ridiculously overpriced for a bit. So I'm waiting for everything to drop down, then I'm going to start PKing with the actual weapons themselves. But for now, I'm really enjoying doing raids too, even though I only have about 2 completions at the moment. But I've been to the boss quite a few times, and I understand quite a decent amount. This, what you're seeing right now, this was recorded day 1 when it just got released, so not really too many people had any idea what they were doing. So my inventory, it's a little scuffed to be honest, so don't really worry about that. But this first room, pretty much there's 3 phases that shoots blood every now and then. The 3 phases are these ticks, or everyone calls them crabs, I don't know why. And what happens on those is pretty much you have to freeze them before they get to the maiden, and then they will not heal. You know, you freeze them, you kill the crabs, ticks, whatever you want to call it. And every now and then there's blood spawns that could drain your life, drain your prayer, drain everything. Ideally in this room you pretty much use like 1 or 2 brews at best, but most of the time I just don't even use any supplies whatsoever. I just prayer flick everything. Room number 2 is the sick nerd room. Pretty much what everyone brings is melee as well as a salve amulet E. Pretty much just drop that at the end of it. Run around the pillars and wait until the sick nerd is on the other side. If you're on the same side as the sick nerd, then all of the flies come out, attack you, and attack everyone in your team. It deals a decent amount of damage, so you do have to be careful against that, but you pretty much just wait for it to die or deactivate or whatever you want to call it. It deactivates after every 30-second phase, I believe. It's something around 30 seconds. Everyone rushes in, you melee. I think you can get about 5 hits unless you get it like right in the beginning. Then you can get 6 hits. Everyone seems to be playing range right now, and if any of this changes in the future, I'm just telling you what's happening right now. But this room is pretty straightforward. At the end of this room, you go and get a reward chest that has food, it has supplies, it has everything you need. And by everything, I mean sometimes you got completely crap RNG and you get nothing in it. And if you die within the first room or the second room, or rather, if you die within both rooms, then you get told that you're a loser and you get given a garlic clove or maybe a cabbage. But for the most part, the garlic clove. Also, the hands, they were pretty BS in the day 1, and they changed them a little bit. And oh wow, everyone died in this clip. Well, you know what? This is just kind of showing you what's happening anyway. This is what actually happens when you clear the room. And don't even look at my supplies. What I bring now is 2 range potions, 1 super combat potion, 5 super restores, a stamina, and, you know, all the gear that I bring for my actual setup itself, which I'm not even sure if the melee gear or the gear that I bring right now is the final gear I should bring. I'm not even going to recommend what you should bring. I mean, I'm not even trying to do a guide right now. Everyone's just waiting for Wooks' guide, which I'm waiting for Wooks' guide too, to be honest. But as of right now, how I'm consistently clearing is I'm just bringing a range setup while everyone brings everything else. I mean, you still bring Tribord, you still bring all of it. Anyway, you come here, you get your supplies. It's complete RNG what you actually do get. Ideally, you want to get super restores and Sarah Brews, and I think towards the end of each room, you want to have like 5 or 6 super restores at best. Anyway, you take your supplies, go to the next room. The next room is the Ticke Room, Crab Room, Spider Room, whatever you want to call it. In this room, there are 3 lanes that 3 different types of ticks can come down: range, melee, mage. I mean, for the first like half of the room, you don't really need to pray, but then for the second half, you do need to pray because they start getting aggressive. Then there's some big boys that you got to kill. Pretty much you're defending the pillars until a big boy comes down, one of the big ticks itself comes down, and then you kill the tick. I mean, it switches like every 5 to 10 seconds. I'm not exactly sure on the timing, but it's pretty consistent. You can always get 2 whip hits in, you can get like 4 blowpipes in, you can get 2 mage hits, maybe 3 with a trident in, and yeah, that's pretty straightforward room. So for this room, there's technically 3 phases. I don't know if I'd call it 3 phases per se, but you get teleported twice, so that's why I was kind of saying it'd be 3 phases. But the reason I say that is because you have to Warhammer spec 3 times because his defense restores after every time he teleports you. I'm not sure of the exact time he teleports you, but I think it's somewhere around 66% and like 33%. He'll teleport you through the maze. You just saw us cross over it. One person will get chosen, and that person has to guide everyone else through the maze. They don't get hurt on their side, but everyone on the other side, you know, the 4 people remaining that are just in this room alone, they have to cross over the tiles that the one person alone has to cross over. So pretty much everyone is just making sure that you cross over the correct tiles, and if you don't, everyone takes damage. When this big ball of energy gets shot at you, you can see it's the slow moving red thing. Everyone has to stack together. Everyone, generally speaking, now stands in the middle, although at the beginning everyone was just standing in the northwest, which it's better to stand in the middle. Like everyone just stands Yeah, in the middle. Okay. And you want to make sure that you aren't getting hit by any of the range mage things. The little black thing is the range, and the red thing is the mage. You want to make sure they don't get hit by those, because if you do get hit by those, they have a chance of turning off your prayer, or I'm not sure if it's 100% rate yet, but it will turn off your prayer regardless. So you want to make sure that you don't get stacked by those when that actually happens. Some of the BS RNG I'm talking about, which this could probably even be avoided, but I don't really know how. I mean, he got stacked right there, and then all of the range and mage hit us, as well as the big ball. That's kind of something you can't really avoid, I guess. Or maybe you can. I don't know. Again, it's not a guide. We're waiting for Wooks to tell us. At the end of this room, if you didn't die in the previous room and this room, then you once more get supplies at the 4th chest. And by 4th chest, I, of course, mean 2nd. This is the 4th wave. The next to last room is Zarpus, which is pretty much one of the easiest rooms as long as you know what you're doing. What he does in the beginning phases is he will shoot out these balls of energy or health or whatever, and they will heal him 6 every single time. So everyone has to just stand over the vents, because there's 5 vents for that. After that, everyone is able to Warhammer spec him down. You can just double Warhammer, and you don't even have to pray any overheads in this room, because he just hits you with poison. So, I mean, obviously you couldn't do that. Plus, when these green balls that are shooting out hit you, you pretty much only get hit like 9 damage, I think it is, at best. But you want to be at least 2 spaces away from them. And a good way to do this room is by going all the way to the corner, because the blowpipe can actually reach from the corner. And once he turns towards you, you just take 2 steps to the right or the left or whatever, 2 steps away from you. And then you can just take the 2 steps back, so he can just continue painting that line. So by the time that you get like 25-ish, it's somewhere around there, like 25-ish maybe. But once he gets there, then he's going to let out a big screech. He'll just say, "Ray!" on the top of him. And then at that point, you guys can get into a diamond formation, and then you pretty much do not want to hit him if he is looking at you. So you stand in the corner of which way he's actually looking, and then you will go for the hit. I think you can get 2 whip hits at best, but if you want to just play it safe, you go for 1 whip hit, and it's pretty free, to be honest. You only even need to use supplies in this room, and then you just beat him down with the whip. Once you actually get to the end of this room, you just pick the skeleton for the Dawn Singer, whatever it's called. You search the skeleton, you take the staff, and that is what's going to be used for Lady Verzik's first phase. So for the first phase of Lady Verzik, everyone stands at this pillar. I mean, you could do it on either side, but everyone always stands at this pillar. You talk to Lady Verzik, and then you use the special attack on the Dawn Singer twice. You drop it, and if you really want to, someone else can pick it up immediately after that and do 2 attacks and go in. But, I mean, if you want to play it safe, it's really not that big of a deal. By the end of this side of the pillars, pretty much you can only use the first 2 pillars to be safe. You want to have used at least enough spec to where the blue HP bar at the top is below 50%. I didn't show you, but the one I'm doing here, I did mess up with the special attack. But by the time that you get to this pillar and everyone rotated through their specs, it should be at least below 50%. But if you were super efficient at it, you can even get it down to like 30-something%. I think most of the time the teams I do it with get it down to about like 38-ish%. Regardless, by the time that the second pillar is gone, you're just sitting and waiting at the 3rd pillar because you want to restore your special attack before you go to the next pillar. The timing for it is once you see that she does the shot, you can just see the animation itself, even if you're in fixed screen, because the blue stuff goes around her little leggies. You can see it in the background that she's just shooting blue magic or something out of her. I don't know. But regardless, what you are trying to get done here is just lowering down the first phase. I mean, by the end of it, you shouldn't even take any sort of damage. I mean, it's not terribly hard, but if you do get hit without your prey mage, you potentially could get 1 shot, I believe. Anyway, if you're looking at all of the brews and everything on the ground and wondering why, it's because they're placed in locations since the 2nd and the 3rd phase. You're going to be running around a lot, and sometimes people don't really use too many brews or restores or anything, so it's just better to actually have those placed down, and then when you need them, you just pick them up, but don't really leech them, you know? You don't want to just sit there and take all of them. It's also worth noting that you don't even need to take off your armor or anything to actually do it, because it's just crit damage as is, so you're fine. I believe that we lowered it down here. Oh, no. Close. But that's what I'm saying. If you were fast like I am with this team, then you'll see that we got to this pillar, and we were just dilly-dallying around. We could have technically done it faster, but there's no point in doing it faster at all because you don't want to take damage. Also, something really important to note, that when the pillar is going to fall, you do not want to stand next to it. I think it'll take like 50, 60 damage. I forget the exact amount, but you'll take damage is the point, just like the Inferno. So for this, the first 70% of the boss, or roughly 70% of the second phase boss, you want to pray range on it, and then you want to just keep moving back and forth. This is the range method. Again, it's not a guide, so I'm not really telling you what to really do. It's just what I did and what we did in the teams in general. Also, the blue ball of energy that got shot out, what you want to do is move towards her, because ultimately you want to bounce it off of her and then nobody takes damage. Otherwise, you'll take about like 48 damage, I think might be the max. Somewhere around there, you'll take that bit of damage. So you just move around. Again, I don't know the melee method other than to just attack and then step off. I had really bad ping in this world, plus one of the first few times doing it, so this might not be the ideal showcasing of it, but I'm just showing you what we actually did for this. So what you do for the melee method, I believe, just follow what they're doing. You take the 3 little step rotation. You might do that in Raids 1 to a certain extent. I think you do that for Tecton. It's a Tecton walking. You're just doing that so you don't take any bit of damage. You're trying to avoid the lanterns that are flying out at you. When the crabs spawn, you want to freeze all of the crabs that aren't purple, and then for the purple crab, that is the one that heals her. What you want to do is just hit it with any poison weapon, so a blowpipe or a tent whip or anything. Actually, by the looks of it, it's about like 35% or 36% around when the next phase of the second phase starts. I don't know what you want to call it, or the next mechanics of the second phase start. It's these 2 ticks or crabs, spiders. They come out and you want to DPS those down because those heal her, and I think it's like every 4 or 5 hits that you can get is when it comes out. The timing is roughly like anywhere from 10 to 20 seconds, and then they respawn. You want to blowpipe them or whip melee them down. And when I actually blowpipe, it's nice for me if I get hit, because then I could just spec restore on them, or I could use the blowpipe spec to restore my HP on them. So for this, you pretty much keep doing that. It's a pretty free phase. You also switch to mage pray because it switches from range to mage pray for this, and you do it until it's 0%, and that's the last phase, the third and final phase. So for this phase, it turns into a giant spider. You want to make sure that you keep running around the room. I'm not going to even attempt to tell you what to do with the declaw specs, although people are doing the same sort of method with Tecton, where they're just walking, and once they're focused, they run away. So the last phase has quite a few mechanics to it. It will shoot mage in range. It's pretty obvious from the visual cues. The blue is mage and the green is range. It will also spawn crabs like this. All you have to do is freeze them because they will blow up on you. You don't want to be standing anywhere near them. Just freeze any of the crabs, even if it is a ranged crab or a mage melee, whatever crab. You just want to freeze it because they will blow up on you and they will do a decent bit of damage to you. That is one mechanic. Another mechanic is, for now, everyone just kind of calls it yellows, and when you see yellow things spawn on the ground, yellow little circles, you want to stand on those, otherwise you will take a big amount of damage. But if not, then the damage actually gets negated itself, so you're fine. Then you can go off and start attacking Lady Versnik again. One of the other things, which is, this is a pretty hard mechanic, Lady Versnik will go into the middle, and then will start shooting webs. You just don't want to get stuck in the webs. I think it's up to like 50 damage that you can get killed for, and pretty much what you want to do is avoid them. If one of your teammates gets in the webs, you can free them. It only has about 10 HP, but it is a little bit risky, so you just want to avoid those at all costs. Another mechanic that I don't even think I have video footage for because it didn't even happen to me when I was recording. The big green ball gets shot at you. It's like this big green ball. Pretty much, if you guys stand together, you will absorb the damage. There it is. Never mind, I lied. There you go. There was a 74 damage. I didn't even think I had it just because it didn't happen to me. If you stand together, then you avoid the damage, but apparently it's just best to actually tank it. Just saying, you could stand together and tank it, essentially. Then for the final mechanic, once you get down to about 20%, you're going to have these purple portals follow you. You do not want to be anywhere near those portals because every time they hit you, you'll take a decent amount of damage, and it will also heal Lady Versnik, so you do not want to get caught by those. Even if it comes down to what you're seeing right now, the choice between a yellow and getting hit by the purple, just get hit. That's all you want to do. Just take the freaking damage itself from the yellow, not the purple, because when it hits you, it heals them up. So that's everything about Raids 2 currently. I'm not sure if the information in this video is incorrect or not, but it's not a guide. I just want to show you guys what the mechanics are. I believe these are the same mechanics that Wooks and, you know, all the big teams are doing. So that's everything to Raids 2. I'm not sure if certain things are going to get nerfed, buffed. I'm not sure, to be honest, but as of right now, it seems to be pretty unforgiving if you do mess up. I'm not really that big of a fan of some of the stuff that is pretty much just RNG. I think that some of that should be removed, but overall, I really do enjoy this update, and I am going to continue raiding a little bit, but ultimately, I'm just waiting to PK with this stuff because it's very expensive for the time being. Anyway, I want to show you my 2 kills, and I really did not expect this video to be this long, but hopefully you learned something today. Narrowly avoided. We did it! We did it! Yes! Yes, dude! Yes, man! Yeah, but dude, I'm so happy now. Any purples? Never purples. Still, I don't care. I got a KC. I gotta get that thumbnail, dude, you know? Oh, I got vials of blood. Too bad they're not really worth anything, though. Got it. Nice. Thank God. Yeah, dude. 2 kill count. Let's go check. I asked if any, yeah. Oh, heck yeah. 200k, not terrible. I could show you the amount of deaths that we had, but I mean, that's really a dime a dozen to die here because it's pretty freaking unforgiving. So hopefully you like this video. Again, I didn't expect it to be this long. I thought it was going to be a 5-minute video just where I covered everything quickly just to show you the update itself. I think it's a good update. Visually, I think it's amazing because people can actually watch you do the Theater of Blood. Like, actual spectators are allowed to be in here, which I thought that was a really nice touch. And yeah, not much else to say about it. So hopefully we get the PK with the Defender this week because it is like 400 mil. And you cannot remove the Defender. So once it's on, it's on. That'd be a waste of 400 mil.